When your best friend says you need to have a disclaimer in the beginning of your podcast because the lawyer in her is screaming, you do it. Here's my disclaimer. I am not a doctor. I am not a therapist. I am not even an expert. I am you. I am bringing information to you as I see it. But don't take my advice. Make your own choices and make them good choices. On with the show.
Welcome to the podcast where we talk about cannabis.
Community violation. Code Green Plant.
Welcome to the show, Code Green Plant. Nice to have you here, Jeanette and James Massie. James was on a previous episode and was amazing. We got a lot of views on TikTok. TikTok and also YouTube. So the people that do watch us and listen enjoyed your episode. So thank you for being there and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So Jeanette, how do you guys know each other?
So I had just gotten out of the Marine Corps and I took a job with a company called Perch. And next thing I know, James shows up. He's a temp and we bonded over the fact that we're both Marines. Just like a universal language. Marines find Marines and we instantly get along.
She was mean though.
I am mean.
She was mean.
I am mean.
That's how I got to know her. Because I was too scared she's gonna kick my ass.
There you go.
So I was on my best behavior at all times.
So Jeanette, just because we all kind of know James, just give us a little bit of background of who you are. How did you get in the Marines?
So I grew up in Colorado. I was in and out of foster homes my whole life from the age of 5 to 18. And I needed a way out. I had no family ties, so the military was my only option. I joined the Marines in 2003 and I left Colorado and never looked back.
So how old were you?
18.
18.
18. You were a baby. Okay.
I was.
How long were you in the Marines? Active?
I did 11 years active, and then I was medically pushed out.
Wow, that's a long time. So you
I
probably
actually
went...
would be retiring next month if I got to stay in.
What was your military role?
So I was supply and logistics. We supplied the warfighter.
Did y'all hear the dogs? Y'all didn't hear the dogs, did you?
It's part of it. Yeah, Phoebe's
okay.
got dogs in there too, so it's a part
okay.
of it.
It happens.
It's all good. Okay, so you went into the military at 18. You ended up staying 11 years, and you were in supply. What were some of the takeaways from being in there? Like, if some of the positives.
For me, though, it was the sense of family. Growing up without a family, they became my chosen family. And I'm still in contact with a lot of the people I've served with, mostly from my very first unit 20 years ago, Japan. To me, that was the biggest thing. Everyone's story, has its good and its bad. They're similar, but they're not. It just depends. There's always a trend. I know for at least female Marines, you got categorized. So you were either a lesbian, a bitch, or you were a slut. And that's what you got put into. Those were the three groups. It's different now, but when I joined, that's what it was.
So what were you in those three categories?
I was the bitch.
Yeah, that's also outside in the regular corporate life as well. For us, it's, you get the same kind of categories. They don't understand it, I guess, that, we can actually be strong, independent women and compete in the game just like men can. So if we were to get into family, you said that you were raised in the foster system. I'm just trying to understand your mindset at the time.
It gave me what I needed in the beginning, which was my ticket out of Colorado, and it gave me medical and dental. Everything else was just a bonus. I got to travel and see different parts of the world. I've been to a combat zone. I've made friends for life. That was the bonus. It doesn't matter which generation of Marines. We find a bond and we get along.
Were there times where you were scared?
I think people are lying if they said they're not scared. It's a pretty natural human reaction, especially in a combat zone. That fight or flight kicks in, and that's when you find out what you're really made of. It teaches you to learn to be quick with your decisions, and they have to be precise, and you're going to make mistakes, and then you're going to go back and kick yourself because you analyze things that you missed after the fact.
How do you mind me asking how you were, I guess, medically discharged? Did I understand that correctly?
So I'm sure you probably heard in like the news within the last couple of years about the PACT Act and the fire pits and all that. Being exposed to fire pits and being in supply, I touched hundreds and countless of different things. Hazmat, you name it, I've touched it. Being exposed to all kinds of chemicals over 11 years. And on my second time around, I came back and I was trying to do business as usual. And I had sustained injuries in Afghanistan, and then it just got compounded coming back. I came home to a crumbling marriage with divorce and PTSD, undiagnosed at the time, stress, anxiety, depression. And I stressed myself out so badly I made myself sick, to where now I have an autoimmune disorder caused by the stress that I caused to myself. From there, it just kind of rolled on, autoimmune disorder. I had precancerous cells that I had to get removed, TBI, PTSD. I was a mess. And I kind of still am, 9 years removed, but I'm in a better headspace. I went to therapy. I did the things that I should have done years ago, and I can function better.
It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with all at once. Your marriage, the support system that you counted on, and you coming out. And when you first came out to civilian life again, what was that like for you?
I was very bitter when I left, just because I didn't get out on my own terms. I was pushed out medically, so I was like, you know what, screw this, screw the government, screw the Marine Corps, I'm done. I'm going to go work at this appliance company. And I tried, I really did try to transition. Back then they had, it's called TRS, and it's 1 week, but it's definitely not enough. It's just PowerPoint after PowerPoint, and they're like, all right, cool, good luck, bye. And, I was unemployed for 3 months, and I probably put out maybe 150 resumes. When I left the Marine Corps, I got one call, and the hiring manager accused me of wanting to take his job because I had more qualifications than him.
Ridiculous.
And then I got the call from the appliance company. I was like, I'll take it. I don't care what you pay me. I just need a job.
Mm-hmm. That sounds very similar to James's story, where he did the same thing, and he didn't get the support that is, everybody says you're going to get, and they cheer for you, and then when it actually comes down to it, there's nobody standing there saying, let me help you.
Exactly.
That's heart-wrenching, honestly. It's like, you go out there and you defend us, you defend our freedoms, and then nobody's there to help you. That's hard. That's really hard. And that's why it's important that you guys get a chance to let everybody, the civilians like us, know that we need to do more. We need to do more for the people that are coming back and support.
That's kind of why I decided to bring Jeanette on, and not just do this by myself, because she was there in my early days of getting out the Marine Corps and everything else like that. She had full-time employment at this place, and I was just at a temp agency. I just happened to get lucky to get stuck there. But just sitting here listening to everything, I never ever would have thought that she was a Victoria's Secret employee. That literally blew my mind hearing that one. But at the same time, as you can hear, our stories are very similar.
Yeah.
They're different, but yet they're similar.
Yep.
When I did come into Perch and everything else like that, she's one of the few that did welcome me in. And it's like that because it wasn't just a stigma of, just being a veteran or anything else like that and just being unemployed. But also because I was at a temp agency And I was out not just a veteran, but literally I was surrounded by I was getting thrown in that same pool as homeless men and felons at the same time. Like literally, like that's how I was getting perceived. And
Perceived.
yes, perceived. Not that I was that, but that's how
I know that.
perceived.
No, I know, but perception that you're in the same category is ridiculous.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the famous term that perception is reality.
Mm-hmm.
And people would rather assume versus asking. Because a lot of people don't want to get involved. You see you from afar and they're like, oh, that person's messed up. I don't want to, get involved with that person. I don't want to help them, or, it sucks. It's hard, especially like if you don't have a support system. Like me, I don't have family. I can't call mom and dad and say like, you know what, today's been a really shitty day and like I need some advice.
Yeah.
I call or text my friends. And I'm like, hey, I've had a shitty day. I don't need any advice really right now. I just need you to hear me out. And I have my Marine veteran friends.
That's why I asked her to come on here, because she's one of those people that has actually seen me go through that process.
We've known each other since 2015.
And I had no idea that she had just gotten out, like literally around the same time I did. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's just literally like it's I don't know, like a luck of a draw, you could say.
Yeah.
Almost
Meant to
because
be.
we both ended up in the same spot. It's just that on different types of employment there.
Yeah, it was fate that you met each other and you were able to kind of walk through a little bit of this together and, support each other on things that only you guys understand. That's huge when you can find somebody else that's like you, in this crazy world. But I'm still saddened by the fact that you didn't have the support from the military. 1 week of a PowerPoint on how you're going to make this transition. That doesn't even make sense.
A lot of people think there's that there's like all these things out there for you, And I want to say that you really don't see it too much anymore, but I know like during the whole Iraq, Afghanistan wars and everything else like that, you used to see on TV all the time, people go to like a baseball game and all this whole time, oh, that's almost like the end of Top Gun to me. Like that's not really what happens at all. I never come back from a mission and people are there sitting there clapping like, yay! No, it's more like, here's your plate of food, get some sleep now, you gotta go back out. We're just gonna use you again.
Yep.
And
We'll debrief later.
yeah, we'll just talk to you later on. And that's how it is when you get out the military. Thank you for what you did. Here's a little piece of paper. We'll give you some discounts whenever you want to go to a baseball game or something like that. You get to go to SeaWorld for free. Yay. But that's literally it. And then, but then it's a fight. Like, it's even a fight to get your benefits.
Yeah.
Like,
Or just healthcare in general, good healthcare. Like I've known friends who've been on a waiting list to get mental health for therapy for a year, but they won't outsource it either. So it's just this vicious cycle of let's get you an appointment, and then the appointment starts to come, and then they cancel because of whatever reason, and it's like, we're going to reschedule you, and it just, then they wonder why these veterans are committing suicide.
Right. Are you guys able to, so it seems like your relationship is extremely beneficial and you just happen to find each other. Are you able to find any type of support groups or like other groups of veterans that kind of are similar and can help you with all this stuff like you just mentioned, and someone that could have some resources? Are you able to find people that help you with that type of things, or is it really sparse and few and far between?
I mean, there are like vet centers and stuff that will do like group therapy sessions. And I know based off my experience, and this, like I said, this is just mine alone, it's not every experience. The couple times I tried to do like group therapy, it became a pissing contest. Oh, well, I went to this area and region and I did this, and then it's kind of like the bigger dick contest. And I was like, I'm not here for this. I'm not trying to invalidate your experience, but don't invalidate mine either. You weren't there with me. You don't know what I went through. You don't know what I saw. And then if you just try to go outside of the VA, therapy's expensive.
Yeah.
So, you might be able to afford it for a little while, but then eventually, you just can't. You can't continue. It's not affordable. It's not sustainable.
There's not government-funded therapy for military?
If you can get in with the VA, with one of their mental health clinicians, yes.
But it's hard. You're saying there's like a wait
And don't
list
get me
and
wrong,
stuff.
I've had pretty good care from the VA here, but there are areas that they're lacking. And I think mental health is one of them. And trying to get people, vetted and seen and try and find the right therapist for them.
So how are you, when you spoke about the different things that you were going through with the PTSD, with the stress and all those different types of things, what were they giving you to help you through it?
Man,
Pills.
that's it.
I figured,
pills.
but
They
I was
drug
curious.
you up so
They give you
high that
pills.
you can't function. I know I was on such high doses of gabapentin and Effexor and sleeping pills that I have days missing. Like, I don't recall what I did. And I would have my friends said that I would just show up to work and I was just a shell. Like, there was no emotion, there was no personality. Like, they said it was scary, that they had never seen me like that. Because I was so drugged up just to try and get rid of the pain and the memories.
Mm-hmm.
But then it got to the point I was like, I can't do this anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I'm missing stuff. I don't remember driving home, and I wasn't even drinking. Like, this was just stuff that was getting prescribed to me, and stuff that should have not been mixed. Which could cause deadly side effects. You go in trusting the doctors that they're going to read your list of medications and be like, oh,
Right there.
I can't give you this one because it's going to, affect this one. You know what I mean? It can cause suicidal ideation. It could, worsen your depression. Or they don't do that. They just look at your symptoms and they're like, oh, we're just going to treat the symptoms. We're not really going to go down to the cause. And then they kick you out and they're like, all right, next patient, come on in.
Yep, like cattle.
It is like hell.
Yeah. No, it is. It absolutely is. How long were you on the medicine before you said
Couple of
no
years.
more?
A couple of years, and I finally I just stopped taking it. And they got mad. They're like, you need to tell us. We're supposed to wean you off. I was like, I can't. I had to just stop. I had to stop it. I couldn't do this. I couldn't function anymore. My quality of life actually degraded even more than before I went on medications.
Did you have withdrawals, like or were you able to just?
Surprisingly, I handled it pretty well. Some of my issues came back, like the insomnia and all of that, but I've gotten better at finding different ways to help my insomnia versus just, let me just take some pills and hopefully I knock out.
What are some of the things that you're using now?
I try and meditate and do breathing techniques just to kind of keep me on track. Sitting in silence works. Just to myself.
This is actually one of the people that, in my last interview, when you were telling me about, when you asked me about how is it I just do the things that I do and everything else like this. This is one of the people that, when I'm laying there late at night and I can't sleep, all of a sudden I get a message just out the blue saying, hey, the things that you're doing is pretty amazing and everything like this. I don't think you smoke. You don't smoke, right? You don't smoke weed and all that stuff, right?
No.
Yeah.
I still work for the government, so I can't.
Yeah, so she doesn't smoke weed and all that other stuff. I do. I do.
We know, James.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Smoking weed is like the least of what I could do. I heard somebody say this the other day that they didn't cause this reality, but this helps ease the pain of going through it. And I was like, wow, that's kind of deep right there. I never thought about that. These support groups and everything else like that, like even as I sit here and listen to Jeanette talking, I'm just like, man, thank you. I don't want to say thank you for real. Thank you for being my friend.
Aww.
Even though you scared the shit out of me sometimes. Thank you.
It's important.
It is. It's a check and balance.
Yeah,
But
it's important. You were able to lay down, you're feeling at one of your low points, and then you get a random text from Jeanette that just said, you know what, it's not that bad. It's going to be okay. And that's huge. will say one thing. Jeanette, the way that she handles stress and different things in her life is to either meditate or to get silent with herself and to just center herself. James, he'll smoke a blunt to center himself and get one with himself. Some people may have to take a prescription drug, but it all depends on your own body and your own mind and what's going to work best for you. There is no flat answer for everybody. I respect all methods, even though we are a cannabis show. I want to tell people there's other ways to do it. This isn't the only way, and Jeanette is a prime example of that. So it's, I'm glad that you do that. I tried to meditate. I was not successful, but I really want to get there because I know that it's so good for you. It's just calming your mind for long enough to sit there and do it. It's really hard for me.
I was about to say the same thing. Like, look, I tried meditation once, and it didn't work. But I think it's because I tried it at the wrong time. It's like at that time of my life, I had been reading like samurai books and all this other stuff, and like I was learning about how like the samurais could calm themselves down and all this other stuff. Well, see, I'm not a big drinker. And it was at this time when I had been drinking and stuff like that, and I felt that, that. So I was like, I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna calm myself down. Well, I think I calmed myself down a little bit too much because everything just came right up when I did that.
That is not typical for people that meditate. Just want to put that out there as a PSA.
Yeah. So like I said, I think I used the meditation skills at the wrong time. But just sometimes when you do things like I don't touch coffee. Because one time when I was 6 years old, I touched coffee when it was cold. I never touched coffee again because I touched it at the wrong time. It's just at the wrong time because I guess, half of America loves coffee.
What does that even mean? You touched coffee and it was cold? So you didn't want to touch it again? I don't understand. Explain that to me.
Exactly. See, you don't understand that one.
You touched coffee?
I don't like coffee at all. I don't want,
So you drank it and it was cold?
Yeah, okay, so when I was like 6 years old or something like that. I was at my mom's, like, at an office party or something like that. And I had a straw in my hand like a little kid. And I thought I was putting my straw into my drink. It was the wrong drink. It was literally a cold cup of coffee.
Okay.
And ever since then, I have never, ever, unless I'm cleaning up after somebody, touched a cup of coffee. Never. So that's how I feel about meditation. I think I did it just at the wrong point in time. Yeah. Because when I did it, I want to say it worked because I was relaxed, but I think I was a little bit too relaxed.
I'm going to assume meditation is just probably not your jam.
I will say this, I have never ever thrown up after smoking marijuana.
I think you just ate something bad.
Nope, hey.
I'm just saying.
Don't aid in this. Don't aid in this.
He had food poisoning.
Don't you agree with her?
And now he's blaming meditation.
I'm glad you brought her.
You were all right. We were doing this thing. We were
good.
And everything.
We were good.
But now
you've been replaced.
So tell me, James, what else do you guys want to talk about? What is he doing? I can't even hear him.
All right. Well, actually, yeah.
You can proceed.
Actually, when I was in the Marines, I was actually in this thing called the Lioness program. Actually, we're gonna get serious again. Hold on.
Okay, serious faces.
It's not like the TV show Lioness, but almost. Were you a lioness?
I was fat.
She said fet, F-E-T, not fat. Let's just
okay.
Let's just go ahead and clarify on that one.
What is FET?
FET is the female engagement team. It came after the Lioness program. The Lioness program was done in Iraq. FET was done in Afghanistan. A small size of female Marines, a group of us, would get attached to these grunt units. And we would go out on missions and patrols. And it was our job, mostly to, check the women, check the children, just do our role and help alongside our male counterparts.
I think it's very important for people to know that, whenever I go places, they don't even think to look at the females that are next to me. They don't even consider that. Yeah, if you listen to what she's talking about in her story, she's been through just about as much as I have. So that's why I brought up that different program, because I was part of that. I was one of those instructors and everything that was teaching these. I don't want to say female Marines because it's just categorizing, but these young Marines, because we're all the same Marine. But I was also part of that teaching these Marines how to be. This is something that's overlooked, that people don't even consider, that It's not just a male-based military. It's not just young males that are coming home in body bags. Her stresses are going to be way different than what mine are. My source of relief is way different than hers is. And that's something that's very much overlooked. But also, one thing I also like to bring attention to that we're talking about on this podcast right now, we have veterans out there that are getting deported to Mexico, Guatemala, to China, or where else you can think of after they served this country because they weren't given the citizenship that they were promised.
They were promised citizenship?
Yes, that's actually part of joining the military, that you can get your citizenship.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right.
And are they saying this is like just an issue with their records, or are they just going back on that as a law?
I'm gonna try and tread this line very, very closely.
I understand.
It's a delicate subject.
Okay.
Right? Our government makes promises, and unfortunately, they have reneged on a lot of them.
Yeah.
The most recent one, not only about our veterans, but like when we pulled out of Afghanistan, we promised all of our interpreters that they'd bring them here and start new and they'll be safe. And I was literally just showing James right now, like, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but that man, that was my interpreter. I think about him every day, and I wonder if our government kept our promise. Because shortly after I left Afghanistan, I lost contact with him. I don't know if he was killed. I don't know if he's in the States and he's at peace. I don't know. But I think about him every day.
Yeah.
See, the thing is that every single battle that is fought socially in this country, just, transgender rights, historical, telling history, immigration, it's all within the veteran community as well. Because in 19 whatever something, Lyndon B. Johnson, he authorized the integration of the United States Armed Services. And with that, people from all nationalities, all races are able to join the United States Marine Corps. And a lot of them are doing it for hope of being a citizen of the United States.
Yeah.
A lot of them are doing it for a chance at education. A lot of them are doing it, so that their children can have something better. Well, I have a friend of mine, his name's Douglas Cruz. Hey, Cruz, if you watch this, man, shout out. Anyway, I have a friend of mine, his name's Douglas Cruz, and right now, it's hard for him just to get his benefits, and because he can't get his benefits, his children can't get those benefits. I served with him in Iraq, and then after that, he got married here in the United States. He's from Guatemala, and they've tried several times to deport him, and they still haven't given him his full benefits because he's not a citizen of the United States. But you're supposed to make him a citizen. Why haven't you done that yet? So it's really like, hey, we want to help you out, but we can't help you out because you're not a citizen. But we're not going to make you a citizen. But we're going to help you out, but we can't help you out. So it's like,
how can that be okay? Like, I can't wrap my head around this. How can you make a promise to someone, have him follow through on his end of the deal, and then you try to ship him away and not keep up your end? That's not okay. Like, this is not
okay.
This is unbelievable that this is happening.
Yeah, not just that, but that man, like Cruz, he got a Purple Heart when we were in Iraq. That means that he was injured in combat. I remember watching him take a mortar shell. I mean, like, he knows shit, like, a mortar's boom, and it landed on him. So I remember that. And so for me to sit there and say, no, he doesn't deserve, no, because he's in that memory that has scarred my head for the rest of my life, that I saw him going through this.
Beyond all of that, just beyond all of that, that was an agreement.
Yes, that's an agreement. Yes, that's an agreement. I try to tell people all the time, especially like what's going on in this world right now, I always try to tell them, look at what's happening. Because I say, at any given time, this could happen to you. They could do this to you. And, people always tell me, no, they can't. No, they can't. They can't do this. This is a law. This and that. I'm like, look, man, you talking to somebody right now who has seen this government make promises to people that they did not keep. And, I mean, not just that, but you're talking to somebody that historically has been made promises by this government that they did not keep to their people. So it's like, look, man, it's like a catch-22, It's like, these people have done you wrong, but yet at the same time they offer you a chance of, I don't know, to be somebody in this world. But yet at the same time they're the same entity that stop you from being somebody in this world.
Civilians, they live in this this bubble and they don't realize all the things that are really happening out there, and they just think everything's fine, and they walk along and they wake up and they walk their dog, and all of this stuff is happening behind the scenes. And so that is why it's so important for you guys to talk about it. You know, I'm being enlightened right now on some of the things that you're saying, so I know other people will be. And I also know and respect that it's a fine line that you have to walk. I appreciate your honesty thus far, for sure.
But there's also, like I said, there's also the good, there's the ups and the downs, you know.
Sure.
There's also the good things, because I'm in school right now because of that promise that they did keep. But I guess you got a debate right now going on in Congress, you know, that you get pregnant and you're a service member, you can't travel to another state to get an abortion. They want to argue about something that's supposed to be just a basic right to people.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you don't want to control us or nothing like that, but yet you don't want to give us what we're supposed to have.
Well, we live in Texas. We're very familiar with that whole scenario.
Yeah.
We can leave the state, though.
Before I say what I say, I want to say this, like look, to the people in these foreign lands that are under war and under siege, my heart goes out to you. It's very hard when I turn on the TV and I see $14 billion for Ukraine, but then here I am struggling to be seen by a doctor because there's no funding in the VA. You want to send me 50 cents, but not just that, but I had to fight for that. I had to fight for this little scraps that I get. So my heart goes out to these people. It really does, because I mean, everybody deserves their chance, and everybody deserves freedom and everything else like that. Everybody does. But I already paid my expense.
We wrote that blank check to the United States government, and now we want our benefits. I think that's a fair trade-off. I said I will go and die in a foreign country, and I miraculously made it home, and now I want to cash in on my benefits, and I want to be taken care of.
Is there any place that people watching could write or support or help in making that happen?
It just wow. You see how we both kind of stuff like where could you send somebody?
I mean, if we're talking to people, let's give them a way to help. That's how I see it. You know, how can we help
small,
you?
Though. It has to start in your community. You have to start with your own local government and then work your way up to your Congress member. That's the only way to make change and vote. I
want to say like this, like for me, it took work. I'm gonna say like that. It took work and searching and everything like that. Because first you gotta find someone that's willing to listen to you, willing to hear what you gotta say. Because it is like I said, that you get thrown in this pool with homeless people, with felons, and please, anybody that's watching this or listening, please don't think that I think that anything's wrong with you. That maybe you had some sort of thing going on in your life that you ended up in that category. Everybody goes through something, and very much I understand that. But at the same time, I didn't do anything to be treated like that. I went out there to fight for people, and I came home to, well, now you're homeless now. Now we're going to treat you like you're a criminal. And you get thrown in that same pool, in that same basket as them. And when you do, at a point, you don't want to say anything. You don't want to be like, standing in line at a soup kitchen, because there's a place out here called Brother Beano's, where they feed homeless people. California. That's how bad it was for me, where I had to go there and get groceries or stand in line just for a plate of spaghetti and to get a haircut so I could try and go get a job interview. I was standing there with all these homeless people and all this other stuff, and I was like, man, like,
ain't this some shit?
Yeah, I was like, ain't this some shit?
Yeah.
Like I've been doing everything I can not to be in this situation. Now here I am with y'all.
And it's not that we look down on them. It's just we never imagined we would be in that spot after the things that we have done and the things that we have seen.
After talking to a lot of those homeless people and everything else like that, I found out something, that a lot of them are veterans.
This episode of Code Green Plant was sponsored by Simply Vibin LLC. Code Green Plant is a Simply Vibin production hosted by Christy Chanel along with her co-host Phoebe James. This podcast is not intended to be used for medical advice and is solely the opinion of the host. Please consult your physician. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to follow us on social media. Want more? Visit www.simplyvibin.com. And a special thank you to the core group of people who helped with the creation of the Code Green Plant podcast. We appreciate you simply vibing with us.
Code Green Plant.